What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. For some of my liberal viewers, you may not like the title of this video for obvious reasons, but we are going to go ahead and declare, at least to some degree, President Trump is winning. President Trump is doing considerably better than many would have expected him to be doing. We're talking about certainly in court, in these numerous court cases that President Trump is dealing with, originally starting out with 91 charges. I believe it's been reduced now to some 88 charges or something of that nature, but we're going to go ahead and state what should be fairly obvious even to Trump's greatest detractors. He is winning. Trump is winning. So what I want to ask you folks right off the bat is President Trump doing fairly well in terms of battling these cases because they were bullshit from the beginning? You know, he said they're a witch hunt. They're trying to basically go after their political opposition. Or is it possible that he may have some court officials in his back pocket? What do we mean by court officials? Well, the Supreme Court, which is a 6-3 majority, the judge down in Miami, who Trump personally appointed to the job himself, has just pushed back Jack Smith's documents case indefinitely. So we don't know when that case will ever even be adjudicated at all. So is it because the cases against Trump are bullshit to begin with, or is it because Trump apparently has, according to some folks, particularly on the left, apparently has a few court gestures in his back pocket? Bullshit or beneficiary for Trump? So what say you? We're going to be doing an abbreviated live today. You know the program is always will be MAGA friendly. MAGA has always been my preferred guest. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So if you're in the comment section, you're in the box discussing whatever with yours truly, no one gives a damn if you have a difference of an opinion. You will always be allowed to speak here. It's all about First Amendment free speech rights. So look at in the comments. You know, with his record of being in witch hunts, even if that's what it always has been, I call it. Lee Holmes, I don't quite get that comment. Karma, says Lee Holmes. You call it karma. Now, Trump is winning. Trump is winning. He fought unsuccessfully, but fought yesterday to have a mistrial in the Alvin Bragg case. That didn't work. But with the Jack Smith case, the documents case, which some would consider to be far more significant than paying off a porn star, that case is not going to be heard. And in regards to any January 6th claims, the Supreme Court is preventing that from being pushed along because they are entertaining whether he has immunity or not. So we're asking that question. Is it because the cases are bullshit, or is it because the courts, to some degree, are helping President Trump? We're going to go straight to the box with the one and only Moo, the Tuxedo Cat. Good afternoon, Moo. Are the cases bullshit, or are the courts helping Trump, or perhaps is it something else? Good afternoon, Moo.
I think it's too early to tell whether anything's going to help or hurt him, but the courts are doing what they're supposed to do. They're holding a trial for a man accused of a crime.
Yeah, but he has, what do you start out with? 91 charges. By the time this is done, by the time the election happens, most of that stuff will still be open, leaving him in position, if he wins, to squash it all.
No, not the fake electors, it isn't. That's a state charge. He can't clear that. And that's actually the most serious crime. You know, the Stormy Daniels thing really has nothing to do with his presidency. That's about him falsifying business documents.
Yeah, but
Go ahead. The judge in Florida is so corrupt that she's just going to try and push that case back so far, hoping he wins the presidency. Then he can get rid of that. Yeah, but, that's a fucked up judge over there. So.
Yeah, but you're saying the Fonnie Willis case, the state case in Georgia, if Trump becomes president, doesn't that prevent them from doing anything while he's in office? You can't charge us. You can't do anything with a sitting president. How does that work?
That has nothing to do with the state. That's all federal. That has absolutely nothing to do with the state whatsoever.
Okay, now I'm pleading
You
ignorance.
can prosecute a sitting president at the state level. You can prosecute a sitting president at the federal level. There's no law saying that you can't prosecute a president at the federal level. It's just that nobody's ever chosen to do so. It's not a law.
So as president of the United States, Fani Willis can be hauling him into Georgia for court cases.
Absolutely, she can. Yeah, and she should, because he's a damn criminal. He got a bunch of fake electors to try and overthrow the election, and then he had a bunch of fools act up at the Capitol as a distraction to try and have Mike Pence send the votes back to the states so that he could have his fake electors overturn the election. Dude's a fascist.
Yeah, but when you look at Georgia, which is either a red or purple state. I know that the two senators there are liberal, but it's either a red or purple state. Do you feel confident that if Trump becomes president, the state of Georgia won't try to play games with Fani Willis and get her out of there?
No, I don't feel confident about anything because you have a whole sect of the Republican Party that's longing for a dictatorship and wants to play fucking games with our election system. So no, I have no confidence in it whatsoever. If Trump wins the presidency, chances are he'll probably try and throw people in jail. You know what I mean? His political opponents will probably get thrown in jail. That's what he said he wants to do.
Now you're saying, because Trump often suggests that Biden has weaponized the DOJ against him. You're saying that if Trump becomes president, that's exactly what he's going to do, is weaponize the system against his opponents?
The DOJ has nothing to do with the Georgia case. Again, it's a state case.
Right.
The fake documents is maybe the DOJ, but that's a special prosecutor. So that's essentially withdrawing yourself from the case and having a special prosecutor take over. The Stormy Daniels thing is New York State. That has nothing to do with the federal government whatsoever.
Here's where I'm not for sure. I'm on the same side with you. I don't know if the idea that a state can continue prosecuting the sitting president. I don't know if I believe that. I'd have to look into that. You might be right.
Well, it's not really about belief, right? You need to cite a law that says that they can't, and that law doesn't exist. So it's not really so much what you believe, it's what the law says, right? What you believe or what I believe doesn't matter. What MAGA believes doesn't matter at all. What matters is reality and the law. That's all that matters.
So how do you respond to somebody who's thinking exactly like I am? RMG in the comments said they will change the law. I tend to believe that if Trump wins and what you're saying is correct, they'll just change it so that's not correct anymore.
Then change the law. That's something you can do when you have power in the government. You can amend the Constitution. You can have Congress change laws. But that's way better than doing a riot at the Capitol like a bunch of schmucks, right? Being a bunch of fascists, beating up policemen, right? Getting one of your own unalived, right? What you should have done is try to change the laws the right way by having Congress do it or a constitutional amendment, right? Not being a bunch of shitty fascists, right?
Yeah, but change the law how? Trump lost the 2020 election. What is he going to do in a 2-month span to change the law to make it so that Biden can't take the office? There was nothing he could do.
Well, what I would say to you is, what can't a dictator do? What law can't a dictator change? You tell me.
Well, he didn't have the power of dictatorship back then. Now, if President Trump gets in office, he's likely to surround himself with a bunch of loyalists. When he was in office the first time, they weren't like that. He's surround himself
with Nazis and white supremacists. Yeah, absolutely. Sure he is.
Tim Scott is not a white supremacist, is he?
Tim Scott's an Uncle Tom, my dude. He might as well be one of them right there. He's like the guy who would rat on the Underground Railroad if we were still during the Civil War, right? He's like the house dude who would go to the master and be like, yo, you got some homies over here trying to escape, right? Damn. That's him. That's Tim Scott.
I want to say I disagree with you. I want to say it's so bad. I do. I really do. But at the end of the day...
You don't, though.
I will leave that alone. But at the end of the day, you don't see Trump as literally surrounding himself. You said Nazis and fascists. You don't think that is all...
Miller's a Nazi, right? Fuentes, the guy he likes to have dinner with, is a straight-up Nazi. He admits he's a Nazi. And Bannon has admitted to being a white supremacist. I don't know why this is shocking to anyone. All of these people freely and openly announce their beliefs. This is not surprising.
Yeah, but he's not going to put Nick Fuentes on his administration. I mean, that's just...
How do you know that? You don't. I mean, I don't know that he will. You don't know that he won't. Why is he having dinner with the guy?
Well, he claims he didn't know who he was.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So, but I mean, so what are you saying, that if Trump wins, America is going to become a pro-white supremacist nation or something?
Well, America's already pro-white. America's been pro-white since its inception. That's not new, right?
Yeah.
It'll just become more pro-white, right? Like, ultimately, a fascist state, much like Israel is at this point.
But how do you respond to folks who say we had 4 years of Trump and all of the things folks are saying that he's going to do that's evil, he didn't do it. We didn't have Nazis running the country.
He had a lot of roadblocks in his way, right? He had a lot of people who would not go along with his plans. General Milley, for one, would never turn on the American people because he's a real patriot, right? He's a general that understands that you don't need to obey this lawful order and send the military against your citizens, right? But that won't be there. Trump will let those people go. He'll get them out of there, and he'll surround himself with people who will do that. Barr wouldn't go far enough to overturn the election, so he won't bring Barr in next time. He'll get somebody else who will go along with his plan to overturn the election.
Yeah, but can he can't overturn Congress and the Senate that quick. Even if he gets a loyal administration, you still have Congress and the Senate. We are a nation of checks and balances.
I mean, what that really hinges on, right? No dictator's ever been able to take over a country without the military behind them, right? If you have the military behind you, then you might as well kiss Congress and the Senate's ass goodbye, right? Because Trump's already said to Time magazine that he will use the military against against us. He's going to use them against us. So there's nothing stopping him from marching the military in there, disbanding the Congress and the Senate, and marching their asses out of there.
Do you think that the military would agree with that? You heard General Milley already was contacting his counterpart in China, telling them, don't worry about Trump. We're not going to follow any crazy orders. You think the military would do that stuff? So as far as the lower level guys, right, like the enlisted people, you're probably going to have a half and half split when it comes to that kind of thing. At the upper echelon, if he keeps the people that are in there currently, no, they're not going to listen to his ass for a second. But he's not going to keep the current people that are in there. He'll put in loyalists, like you just said, who will do his bidding. So what you're basically saying, that if all Trump does is need to win in November and it's kind of checkmate, from that point on, the dictatorship is just a matter of time.
It's pretty much imminent at that point, yeah, because he has the power. Understand, the Republican Party has wanted a unilateral presidency for a very long time. There were many believers in the president having absolute power before Trump got in there, right? Bush believed that. Cheney believed that. Barr believes that. Okay. A lot of these guys believe in a unitary executive authority. So it's no surprise that the Republican Party is all about a dictator, because a lot of them have wanted this for a very long time.
I really hope you're wrong, man. Every time you come on the damn program, you leave me depressed, man. But
so it's not fear-mongering, chat, because your boy's saying it in Time magazine, right? He said these things. I'm not saying it. I'm repeating what your homeboy, what your orange dickhead already said.
I hope you're wrong, man. Got to move it on, Moo. You scare me every damn time we talk, but you're always welcome back. Wow. And Moo is former Navy, I believe, too. So he's a progressive. I see my YouTube commentators think he's completely cuckoo, but a lot of folks on TikTok had a more favorable opinion. Understand, folks, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So you're going to hear opinions you disagree with, and you're going to hear opinions that may be more favorable to your own mindset, such as the one and only, haven't talked to you in a while, sir, MAGA, Electric Wolf 45. I would like to hear the counterpoints. Where did my last guest maybe get it wrong? Wolf, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, you really got a bad audio.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. I really like to hear from you.
Give me a second.
Yeah, we'll give him a minute. Vaccine mandates controlling energy production, funding Ukraine and not Israel. Vaccine mandates controlling energy production, funding Ukraine and not Israel. Where are you getting that from? He might gargle semen That's it. What the hell does that mean? Republicans are stealing your freedom as well, says Lisa. Well, the counterpoint is, if the liberals get in, they're going to make it so that you have socialist policies. Your Second Amendment is in jeopardy. Many folks believe that the liberals are who is more likely to steal freedoms. I get your point, most likely from pro-choice versus pro-life. That certainly is a degradation in freedoms. I know the right don't believe giving, pro-choice, pro-life arguments back to the states is a loss of freedom. I disagree. It certainly is. If you can do something today and tomorrow you suddenly have to leave a state and drive hundreds of miles to do it, you lost some freedoms. Or if you have to move out of state because your state no longer allows it, that's a loss of freedoms. The right says, well, you didn't lose any freedoms. You can just go somewhere else and do it. Well, that doesn't take into account the expense, the time, whether or not you actually can afford any of that, all kinds of other things. Looking in the comments, though, it's like Gunny said, we're all equally worthless. VP Pirate, I always appreciate your participation. Worthless on what? There's more of us than them. We just need to not let them divide us, says Good Time. I don't know, when you say more of us than them, are you a left-leaning individual or right? Because when you talk about division, both sides believe the other side is divisive. I mean, we can talk about quotes from President Trump, but there's ultra MAGA deplorables from Hillary Clinton. There is divisive quotes on the left as well. Are you free or are you just bullshitting yourself? Asked Thermal Chill. Depends on what your definition of freedom is. It really depends on what your definition of freedom is. Going back to the box, I don't know what happened to my last caller, so we'll move it on with Ronald Hall. Good afternoon, Ronald. Welcome to the program. Asking that question, Trump is winning. How is it that with 91 charges, it's looking like Trump not only would not do a day, most of these cases would not even come to fruition. Real quick, it looks like we may have trouble with the box. We'll give it a second. Otherwise, we tried to bring up Ronald, but we're having a few issues with the box, so I do apologize. See, that's the problem with conservatives. They're never happy, says Corey70. Well, they had Trump in office for 4 years. They were bragging that America was being ran in one of the most efficient fashions in history. They were very happy under Trump. So I don't know if I agree with your comment in suggesting that the Republicans or conservatives rather are never happy. I don't think there's any party in this country that is going to be 100% happy. Even when Obama was in office, which was widely favored by liberals, they were complaining about things. I mean, that's just, you're never going to please 350 million people simultaneously. I don't think there's anybody that can do that. Real quick in the comments, having trouble with the box. Trump is winning until the day he goes to prison, says Crooksy. He may never go. He may never go. Certainly, if you look at the trajectory that Trump is on, he is juggling an original caseload of 91 charges. It's down to 88 or whatever. But he certainly is looking a hell of a lot better than anyone, including myself, would have expected. For all intents and purposes, with only 6 months to go to the election, I don't see how you can't say he is winning. He's at least ahead of expectations. Let's try it again. The box is really problematic today. Randy, by the way, as always, smash that like button on. Hang on a second, Randy, hold on a second. Smash that like button on YouTube. The 3 dots in the corner of your phone on YouTube, for you folks that may not know how to hit the like button. I was told the 3 dots at the top of the screen allows you to smash that like button. It helps out the algorithm. Randy, good afternoon. Randy, are you there? Randy, can you hear me? Okay, he's on, but I don't hear any communication, so we got to move it on. If he does go there, if he does go, talking about going to jail, this is President Trump. Kerry King says if he does go, there will be a rebellion to many others. They haven't done anything to be in power. So if President Trump goes to jail, there will be a rebellion to the likes of Biden or someone else because they didn't do anything to be in power. I don't quite get that, but we'll continue on. What has the Republican Party done for black people? Says you're 21. Well, they're going to suggest that the economy was stronger under Trump than it was under Biden, which would obviously help out the African-American community as well. They're going to bring up that there were no global conflicts, which puts less folks in the path of having to go to the military and whatever else may be going on. Price of fuel was cheaper. We all need gasoline. Now, these are things really that are not specific to the African-American community. But President Trump will bring them up. He actually did pardon some African Americans, some rappers, small stuff. The historically black colleges and universities routinely comes up. Now, from what I hear, that didn't happen. But President Trump and many that support Trump often bring up the HBCUs. But I'm hearing that didn't happen. But nevertheless, if the economy is better under Trump, that helps out everybody. That's the main argument. Look at it in the comments. But they are wrong. We were at war in Afghanistan and the economy is better now. Filibuster, whatever the filibuster, in regards to the economy, the economic analysts say that the economy is doing well right now, but people can see what they're spending at the grocery store, what they're paying for the prices of goods and services. That argument is not working. Even if it's true, even if what they're saying about the economy is somehow true, that it's doing better under Biden and Trump, I don't think the American populace is buying that. That's people can see what they're spending, how much things cost, and they're not buying that under Biden, the economy is better. The metrics being used do not match what they're paying at the grocery store, what they're paying at the pump. So I don't think that's going to work. And I see in the comments, GB121 says I'm buying it. Some say that. I don't see extremely higher prices. Paul Howard, how could you not? If you compare your grocery bill during the Trump administration to your grocery bill now, you're paying more. It may not be Biden's fault at all. It could be price gouging. But your grocery bill is higher under Biden. I don't think there's any way to deny that. Your grocery bill is higher under Biden. It's higher by 20 to 40% in some places. It's higher under Biden. Now, it might be price gouging or something that's out of Biden's control, but it is higher under Biden. Going back to the box, having a lot of problems bringing people up. We'll try it again with Chris McDonald. Don't know what happened to, we had MAGA and everything. Chris, good afternoon.
That was my audio. How you doing, man?
Loud and clear. I can hear you. So.
Okay, very good.
Okay, so what do you think? Is Trump winning? I mean, it's looking like.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that Trump is winning. Anytime that you look at the polls are extremely skewed against Republicans by sometimes 5 points.
Why do you say that? Why do you say the polls are skewed against Republicans?
Because they're polling universities and media outlets. Like media outlets and universities, 90% of professors are Democrat and vote for Democrats, contribute to Democrats. And so universities, unbelievably far to the left. So when you talk to students that are hearing from their left-wing professors certain things, like students respect their professors, so they're more likely to be liberal, and then they graduate, and typically things change as they get older.
Let me interrupt. I'll let you continue, of course, but I don't think that students and folks on campuses at universities lean left because of their professor. It's what young people favor compared to the Republican Party is why they lean left. Young people are pro-marijuana, they're pro-LGBT, they're pro-choice, they don't favor the police very much. When you look at conservative media, look at their advertisement. It's targeting old people. They're selling gold. They're talking about Roth IRAs and things like that. Even if you watch Fox News, look at their commercials. It's clear they realize our audience is old people. It's the principles that the conservatives stand on is why young folks don't vote Republican. You're pro-Christianity. The young crowd ain't into all of that stuff. You know, putting religion in schools. The older crowd is. But go ahead and continue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the premise that the Republican Party has like a messaging problem, but like the primary reason why kids are left-leaning is because left-leaning is typically more on the overarching government side. And when you're a kid, all you've known is overarching government through your parents. And so it's a very comfortable situation. It's essentially socialism, which is fine in a family setting. Socialism is actually the appropriate system. It's not appropriate for a community or for a state government or a federal government. So you take a kid and you say, hey, do you believe that you should have health care when you get out of college? Of course, because I've had health care with my parents. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that you should have help with your rent when you get out of college? Of course, because I had help with my rent when I was with my parents. And so who would vote against that? Who would vote against, like, here's a bunch of stuff? That's kids. Now, kids get a little bit older and they start having to pay for stuff. Now their opinion typically changes. But to go back to what I was saying, so
let me just push back on that real quick before we continue.
Okay.
Now I agree with you that younger folks are going to be more favorable to socialist type policies, and it's mainly because they have less. By the time you reach retirement age, you have accumulated more, and you don't necessarily want to share it or be forced to share it with those who do not have. So that is why somebody coming right out of college, healthcare means a lot to them because they don't have a job yet. Somebody who's about to retire, they may have employer provided health insurance for the rest of their lives. So they're not in favor of universal healthcare. They already have it.
Right. I mean, you're making an interesting point in that they get out of college and they don't have a job. That's a problem in and of itself. Our universities do not set people up for employment. We have people getting degrees in Pokemon and Taylor Swift. Like, our universities are not geared towards being profitable when you get out. Like, if you tell me, I'm an investor, if you tell me, here's a $60,000, $100,000 investment, the likelihood that it pays off is, I don't know, 10, 15, 20%. That's a very stupid investment. And we're telling kids to take on these loans that do not pay off, get degrees that do not pay off. And we have grants and scholarships through our government paying for these non-profitable degrees. It's insane.
But why don't you see the issue with that? The folks on the right, I'm going to say the folks on the right, you're not a big fan of big government. You believe in letting the free market decide. You support capitalism. What the universities are doing, that's a shining example of the free market and capitalism.
No, I don't agree with that. So there's no way you can argue that our universities are free markets. The amount of federal funding that goes into them is unbelievable.
Yeah, like, but get rid of the federal funding and nobody can afford to go.
No, that's not true. So what would happen is private institutions would come in with much more favorable loan terms and interest rates. And then it would be then colleges, if less people go, it's supply and demand, they have to lower their price.
Well, wait a minute. If you let's do what you said. Get rid of federal funding, and then you said they'll start coming in with better, more favorable loans. If you're coming from a poor family, they're not going to loan money to you. You coming from your mom and dad can't co-sign because they're broke. They're not going to just trust you for no reason at all.
But they're doing that right now. Of course they are.
Because they got federal background. They got the feds backing them.
Yes. Okay, so we're just right next to each other on this. So the problem with that, when the government backs it, is it encourages two things. It encourages predatory loans, and it encourages predatory pricing from the universities, because the universities know they can get whatever the hell they want. Okay. What? Tuition's $100,000? Okay, fine. And then if you're a loan institution, you know you can give out that loan because their government's going to back it. That's a problem. It's double predatory.
So what are you suggesting? No federal funding for schools?
What I'm suggesting actually has very little to do with schools and more to do with employers. Employers should stop requiring 4-year degrees, and then people will stop going to college for useless degrees.
Yeah, but like I said, your party believes in the government taking their hands off, a hands-off approach. Let the market do what it wants. The whole reason you got corporations requiring degrees and things like that is we let the free market decide. And the free market started saying, I want educated people.
Well, no, that's not the free market though. Like just like our healthcare institution, the reason the costs are so unbelievably high is because of overwhelming government intervention.
That is the free market. The free market means let the businesses make their own decisions without government interference. They decided to hire people. We want them to have degrees.
No, so that's not what's happening. All that a degree is a sorting mechanism. It's just saying, hey, if you have a degree, that means you can concentrate for 4 years towards a goal. So you're more likely to be a good employee. That in and of itself is a good rubric to say, all right, here's how we find good employees. However, our universities are very, very clearly not geared towards making people ready for the workforce. And that is a problem. You're much better off getting an internship or some sort of apprenticeship than you are going to college in 99% of circumstances. And I'm saying that as a master in business. Like I have an MBA.
I have an MBA as well.
Yeah, and so I got that MBA while working two full-time jobs and competing as a college athlete. And I worked my absolute ass off. I was scammed 100%. Like I'm in sales. I sell solar panels. I make $600,000 to $800,000 every single year, and I hire kids that are 18 to 25, and they're making $400,000 or $500,000. So college just isn't. It's not what it used to be, and now we have way too many people going.
So what is your solution?
My solution is employers need to stop requiring 4-year degrees.
You can't force that though. Unless you want government oversight, you can't make that happen.
No, I want the government out. Because the reason why people are going to college is twofold. One, they want to party. And two, it's being backed by these federal loans that are so easy to get. I came from a
Should the federal loans go away?
Again, if the federal loans go away, then colleges have to compete, because what will happen is there will be a massive drop-off of students that want to go to college because they can't afford it. And then colleges will have to get more innovative with their pricing and saying, you know what? This doesn't cost us much.
But there's no history of that, Chris. There was a time in this country where everybody could not get federal loans, and the level of college enrollment was way, way less than it is now.
It should be less, though. We don't need everyone going to college. Very few jobs actually require a 4-year degree. It's mostly the STEM fields. So you have your sciences, your technology, your engineering, your math, your medical. Those people should go to college.
So what you're saying is you want students to go to college. There is no federal funding, so that loan is on them. So when they come out of college and they enter the workforce, they're deep in debt already. For those who
That's
do want
to, case.
Huh?
That's already the case.
Yeah, but because it's federally backed, the interest rates are very low. If you are
not really.
They're lower than they would be if they didn't have the protection of the federal government for those loans. If the federal government was not providing those loans, those colleges would be charging you a lot more money, and it would vary depending on the interest.
All right, so let's look at this from the standpoint of a bank, of a loan institution.
Yes.
If a student said, I'm going to go to college to be a doctor, are you willing to give that person a loan? More likely to give that person a loan, yes or no?
Depending on credit, depending on family wealth. You do realize banks. Hang on. You do realize banks turn people down for loans, right?
Well, yes, but no, it depends on their grades. That's what the SAT is for. The SAT says this person is more than likely going to pass their degree. They're going to make it. That's the whole point of the MCAT. That's the whole point of the SAT, is to say this person's a good loan risk. That's all that is. So now, again, going back to my question, if you're a bank and you're going to give out a loan, would you give out a loan to someone who's saying, I'm going to go to college to be a doctor? More likely, yes.
I think you're skipping over a lot of things. First of all, if you come from a wealthy family, that's going to make me view whether I want to give you a loan or not, because you may have an inheritance coming in the future. If you want to go to a more expensive college, that's going to make me decide whether I want to give you a loan. If you're coming from a poor family, when you don't have any likelihood of receiving an inheritance, I'm only going to loan you the bare minimum to go to some of the entry-level schools. I'm not going to put a lot of money behind you. That's what banks do, if I loan you money at all.
I mean, you're asking me a question that kind of zigzags across a lot of different problems. Like, I can try to weave it together for you, but it's like a 4-hour conversation. It would take a very long time to unravel. And I'm sure we actually agree on more than we disagree. I actually wanted to address Moo and his claims.
Real quick, go ahead. I'll let you go out with that. Go ahead.
Okay. So what dictators do not do is they do not fight to keep guns in citizens' hands. What dictators do is they try to remove guns from citizens' hands. It's one of the first moves that they do. What dictators do not do is they do not promote and improve free speech. What dictators do is suppress it, and they try to use exactly what the Twitter files revealed. They try to use the government to shut down speech on what is now the public square, which is the Twitters, Facebooks, Instagrams, and Pinterests of the world. What dictators do not do is they do not go after journalists, which the Biden administration has absolutely done. They don't use government institutions like OSHA to try to hurt businesses, which the Biden administration did. There is absolutely no way you can say that Donald Trump has any signs of being a dictator other than rhetoric.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Foolishly.
Yes, you can. He just, in addition to him actually coming out and saying I want to be a dictator from day one, hang on, look.
That's not what he said.
What did he say? What did he say?
He this is the problem.
I want to hear what, hold on. I want to hear what he said, not what he meant. What did he say?
What he said is, I'm going to be a dictator on day one, and then I'm going to go back to just being the president.
Okay.
That's obviously a joke, because that's not how being a dictator works.
So
you can't just be a dictator for one day.
How do we supposed to judge this man, but in terms of when he's serious versus when he's joking? Because Sean Hannity didn't bust out in laughter when he said that.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He literally laughed when he said that.
No, he did not.
And Trump read his face, and then Trump said, I know you're not going to like this. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it, though. He knew he was doing something to make headlines. Donald Trump has done this for like 80 years, not literally.
Okay.
But what he's done is he's used his media. All news is, or all publicity is good publicity. That's a Donald Trump mantra. He does things to make headlines, and he knows the media is going to lose their shit. And
what about him suggesting that if he's president, he would give police immunity? Is that not dictator-like?
That he's going to give the police immunity? In what circumstances are you talking about?
He said the police need to have their power back. I'm going to give. We don't normally hear leaders talking about giving the police immunity. Why would he say that?
How would? Well, no, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that like in certain circumstances.
He didn't say any of that. He didn't say any of that.
Well, no, you're asking me to interpret it, so I'm going to interpret it.
No, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say give police immunity, you're not saying total immunity. What you're saying is more like deference. You're saying, all right, we can't have police officers in these situations where they can't even shoot a girl that's running after another girl with a knife without being called white supremacist murderers and then being come after by LeBron James. It literally happened. And so police need a certain amount of immunity to say, all right, we need to actually allow them to be able to kill people when appropriate. And the body cams are a great thing to help determine whether or not it's appropriate.
All right. Chris, you're breaking up. Always welcome back, though. Good talk, good debate. Anytime, man. Come on back through. Appreciate it. All right.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. His signal was breaking up. We had plenty of time. You know how we say, folks. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Me and Chris have a difference of opinion on virtually everything stated, but I do appreciate him coming through. Looking in the comments, though, they always need to interpret Trump like he's a child. I can't disagree with that. Here's one thing I have to say, and I'm not saying Trump is a child, but here's the thing I don't agree with. President Trump was elected because he speaks like a typical New Yorker. He shoots straight from the hip. Always using words like you're taking that out of context or he meant that. If he shoots straight from the hip, it should be very easy to understand what he's saying. I don't understand why his words have to be reinterpreted all the time. After all, English is Trump's mother tongue. It's not like he is, some foreigner where you got to no, you know what he's talking about. Thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeah. Whoever just said that, DJ Julio. thank you as well. Yeah, to you guys. I appreciate that. Got your boy looking real Hispanic. Going back to the comments, and I see George Michael, one of my favorite late great singers, says, I'm so sick of MAGA standing up for Trump. We'll go with that. Going back to the box, I did want to talk to DJ. Wait a minute. What did I just hit? Wolf 45. Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good.
Can you hear me out?
Loud and clear this time. So Trump is winning. Does it look like he actually is winning now?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just we kind of tried telling you, and it's like, you know, the funny thing is that it's kind of, it wasn't even his doing. You know, the falling apart of the cases. The thing is because the cases are so weak, and because they were so patched together they were grabbing from everywhere to try to make a charge and everything else. It's falling apart. And the thing is, I'm glad. I mean, like I said, I think the whole thing is just garbage. Now he has to worry, because remember, the documents case was the biggest case. Someone said that. I forgot which one it was, but
I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard that too.
And now that's on hold. But
that judge in down in Miami, I will say this. Let's go with what you're saying. The documents case is a witch hunt is bullshit. Fair enough. Why not have the case and let him just defeat it on the merits? By pushing it back indefinitely, this is a case where the American people should know the facts. Even if it's a witch hunt, even if it's bullshit, I believe the people should know what the prosecution actually has to offer. If it's nothing, Trump will win. But by silencing the case, that's wrong.
Yeah, but Handsome, the thing is, you want this. The thing is, see, this is a problem, and I knew this was going to be an issue too. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, it's a Trump-appointed judge." No, the thing is because of their fuck up, the government screw up with the documents, the way they placed them, that they mishandled them, stuff like that. She has no choice but to do it, to pull back and say, okay, you guys got to get your shit together, because you guys just screwed up this case wildly. That's their fault. That's not Trump's fault.
I'm just going to say this. Like I said, I'm going to say this once again, even if what you're saying is correct. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. We got almost 800 of you in here. Get your boy up to around 40,000. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. For my YouTube audience, feel free to smash that like button. I'm being told the top 3 lines or 3 buttons on your screen is what exposes the like button. So I do encourage you to hit the like button on YouTube. It also helps out the algorithm, and I would appreciate that. A subscription, if you will. Follow the program, if you will, on TikTok. So what I'm saying is this: even if you're correct, her pushing the case back, because you're saying it, but they didn't get their act together and things like that. I don't know. I believe that if this was reversed, and the same thing was happening to Biden, and a judge that was doing it was appointed by Biden, you guys would be saying she's a liberal plant.
No, but see, look, first of all, this is where you mix things up.
Okay.
And you can't do that. First of all, Biden's not going to get charged with anything. No, everybody's hiding Biden's stuff. No one wants to see. Everybody knows what Biden's done, but they don't care because he's a Democrat. They're not going to treat him like they do Trump. The thing is, they weaponize this against Trump. We all know that, but that's okay.
But here,
okay. You weaponize the justice system however you want. They already came out where they were meeting before. They met before they appointed Jack Smith with Jack Smith. I mean, that already came out. But okay, you guys wanted to play around. That's fine. Everybody says, let's go to court. But the problem is, even by law standards, you can't even advance the case because the prosecution screwed up so bad. That's what I'm saying.
But here's the problem I have. You mentioned that people are going to protect Biden, and whereas Biden may have committed crimes, everything they're accusing Biden of happened while Trump was president or before. Why didn't Trump go after him? If he's so damn crooked, are you saying that Trump dropped the ball? Maybe Trump should have prosecuted him.
Trump was busy trying to be president and fighting against the Democrats and Republicans. That's what Trump was doing. Trump was trying to fend off all sorts of attacks because he was trying to support the American people. He was actually trying to get shit done.
How much golf did Trump play when he was president? How many rallies did he have when he was president? You're telling me he couldn't have prosecuted Biden or Hillary Clinton? He didn't have enough time?
But why? The thing is, what would prosecuting them have done? All it would have been, and you call him divisive, but he said, I don't want to be divisive, so he doesn't go after him because he would have to literally go say, I want you to go after this person. I want you to go after that person. Then you guys would call him a fascist, a Nazi, and this and that and that. And he didn't do any of that, but you still call him that. That's what I'm saying. He can't win.
So wait a minute. He didn't want to be. He didn't want to be. According to you, he didn't want to be divisive by going after them. So he just holds rallies yelling that they should be locked up constantly? That's how you avoid being divisive?
It's a rally, handsome. They say all sorts of shit. Remember when Maxine Waters held a rally? I mean, yeah, it was 20 people, but I mean, it was a big rally for her, and she was like, oh, don't let them eat. Don't let them sit still. Run them out. Tell them who they are, blah, blah, blah. Then you had a Hakeem Jeffries or somebody. Yeah, I think Hakeem Jeffries or the guy that worked for Obama, that he turned around at his rally. I think there were 13 people there, so he drew a lot of Democrats. And he said, oh, when you hit high, you hit them lower, things like that. It's just, the thing is, that's politics. That's the whole politics thing. The thing is, with Trump, anytime he says anything, oh, he's calling.
It's not, but Wolf, it's not politics. I don't recall Obama or George W. Bush or H.W. Bush or Bill Clinton suggesting that their rival be locked up. That's not politics. That is new, starting with Trump. No, they all were holding rallies. I've been to Trump rallies. I've been to Obama rallies. I never heard Obama yelling out to lock people up. George W. Bush didn't do it.
He didn't have that set of balls on him. He was more of a smooth character.
How about he was more of a uniter?
Yeah, come on, calling cops idiot cops, and then going to a funeral for 5 fallen cops at a funeral, and then talking shit to them and talking like it was their fault. Come on, Cohen Killer, you know better than that.
It's a lot better than calling immigrants rapists and murderers, I'd say.
Well, there are rapists and murderers that are immigrants. I mean, you got to admit that, right?
There are rapists and murderers in Washington, but that don't mean you call the whole Washington body rapists and murderers.
Well, he didn't call them all. Remember, he said some of them are good people.
Yeah, he said, I assume. He said, here's his actual quote. They're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers. I assume some of them are good people. In other words, I don't even know for sure if any good people are among that crowd. It could be a whole crowd of rapists and murderers.
But he said, I'm assuming. But he did. The thing is you read too much into it.
I don't read too much into it. It's pretty damn clear.
No, but see, the thing is, did he call immigrants rapists and murderers? Yes. All of them? No.
Most of them.
Are they some involved in rapes and murders? Yes. So he's not wrong. The thing is, and we've had this discussion before, we shouldn't have one person here that's a rapist or a murderer.
I agree with that.
Not one.
But coming the legal way is not going to guarantee that, because Bin Laden, the 19 hijackers that took down the World Trade Center were all legal immigrants. Every one of them.
I agree. But the thing is, too, times change, and there's a lot of people coming in through the border illegally because they like, we don't even need to come in on a visa. We don't even need to work on that. We just come in illegally because this administration is allowing everybody in.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Right. You gotta. They're gonna find way. Scumbags are gonna find a way. A way in to hurt another country one way or another. That's just the way it's gonna work.
I don't disagree with that, but that doesn't mean you have to say they're not sending us their best and brightest, because some of them folks coming are their best and brightest. Some of them immigrants will become doctors and well-standing members in society.
Yes, they will. You're right, but right now the people that are coming in are not doing that.
You don't know. You don't know that yet.
But you don't know if I'm wrong either.
Right. I know what Trump is saying, what Trump stated.
But if you're breaking the law already, coming illegally, it's already siding with my side that they're up to no good. If you break into a house because you're cold and someone unalives you and you broke in because you were cold, I didn't know. I thought you were trying to break in because you were breaking in, which is against the law, to hurt me, not to warm up.
Yeah, but Wolf,
you know what I mean?
But yeah, you're right. But why not call them burglars? Why not call the folks that come into this country illegally, illegal immigrants? Why call them rapists and murderers? Most of the folks coming in, the overwhelming majority of folks coming in this country illegally. We're talking about 10 million, according to the right. 10 million folks have come in under the Biden administration. I would submit to you 99% of them will never rape or murder anybody in this country. Why is that coming up?
Okay, how much is 1% of 10 million?
A very, very small number.
How much, though? How much?
I can't even do the math right now. What is it, about 9,000?
That's a lot of bad people. 100,000 is a lot of bad people, and that's what going with your sunshine and rainbows idea of 99%.
Yeah, but the way Trump made it sounds like it's flipped around the other way. They're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers.
They're not. You think Mexico, Venezuela, all China, the Middle East, all they were sending were their law students? Were there medical students? Were there engineers? Were there architects? I don't think so.
Wolf, if we've had 10 million come in under Biden, which is what the right says, where are all the rapes and murders? Why aren't they happening?
Well, God forbid that you're right and we see more. But again, there's been a few, and just give it time. I hope you're completely right and I'm completely wrong. I've said that before.
You said give it time.
I'm sitting on a powder cake. Look at all these protests. Just look at the protests, I'm telling you.
All right, fair enough. So at the end of the day, you do believe most of these folks coming in this country are coming to rape and murder people?
I don't think most of them. I think some of them are. But
give me your guesstimate. We obviously don't know.
There's a saying in Spanish. It's called "Por uno pierden todos." Okay, what that means is because of a few, everybody loses. So because of the fact that all these people came in illegally, some of them may do bad. We're blaming all of them. And that's just the way it works because of the fact you decided to come in illegally. It's that simple. Because they came in illegally, don't give me this. They're looking for a better life. They're doing that. I don't care. They decided to break the law from the get-go. That's their fault.
You would use a fucking Hispanic quote in this argument. I gotta go, Wolf. I gotta go.
Hey, I don't appreciate you using my time for commercial advertising, but I'm going to go ahead and allow it this time. Trump 2024, okay?
Good luck with that. He still has to win the election, and folks, the women are expected to come out in droves. He may not be able to pull that off, but he looks like he will be a free man when it happens.
We'll see.
All right, Wolf. Good talk. All right, moving the program on. As always, you know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone on the program. That's how it's been ran from day one. So understand, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, you are in the right place. I'd encourage you to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription, if you will, on YouTube, Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central, 1,300 hours is when we are here. Going back to the box, and here's something I don't see very often. Snake, and there's a bunch of S's before the word, says Biden 2024. I don't see that much. Even though many believe that Biden will emerge victorious in November, I don't see a lot of Biden 2024. In fact, I don't know when the last time I've seen Biden Kamala or Biden Harris on a bumper sticker. I don't see that much. That's interesting. Going back to the box though, there's some Biden 2024s in the comments popping up. But before I go to the next caller, I just want to see what my audience look like on both platforms. You know, we're simultaneously on YouTube and TikTok. In the comments, depending on your politics, type your candidate in 2024 after it. Trump 2024, Biden 2024, Kennedy. I just want to see where the audience lies. I believe I kind of know, but I wanted to see what happens. Looking in the comments, so our country is broke, says Wilfredo. I don't think that that's going to change under Trump because Trump was increasing the national deficit as well. So I don't think that's going to change with Trump. Now, the citizens economically may be more favorable under Trump, some people believe, but the national deficit was not getting better under Trump. I see a lot of Biden stickers. BYE, Don, like buy, get out of the office, Donald. Well, I've seen those. I have seen those. And that's why I state I don't believe that people are voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump. This election will be people voting for Trump, people voting against Trump. There's not a lot of people voting for Biden. I really believe that. DJ Julio, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. We had some interesting back and forth. I'd be embarrassed I'd be embarrassed to say that we have a sticker on my car that said What's up, Julio? Good afternoon. DJ Julio, you there?
No, not a lot. Just hanging out, doing my thing.
Okay. So your signal's going in and out. That's the problem. So is Trump winning right now? Do you think Trump is going to pull it off?
Absolutely. I mean, I still got that $1,000 bet with you.
I don't feel confident no more. But
I know. I can hear it in your voice.
Well, there's still that election thing, though. There's still that whole election thing. The women are expected to come out. You think he's going to win the women's vote?
I think that he'll win what he needs to from the women's vote. Yeah, I don't think that there's enough women that dislike him. I don't think there's enough women that dislike his policy. Maybe they don't like his past, but they like his policy. He'll get enough women to vote for him. He'll be fine.
You believe women will overlook the strict anti-abortion laws in Republican states?
Yeah, because when he comes out with his policy about that, it's going to change their minds.
Well, I mean, some of these women could die in the process of this stuff, though, Julio.
You know, what's really silly is I could lay down with a stranger tomorrow and I could end up dying because I didn't put a condom on. I could end up with AIDS. I could end up with AIDS and end up dead anyway for not being responsible enough to have sex as an adult, I guess.
So, do you believe the way the pro-life laws are going, you think this is the right direction for America?
I think what's going to end up happening when Trump gets back into office is he's going to repeal that, and he's going to put into place where there's circumstance for abortion. But the overall is we don't look proudly upon being irresponsible, getting pregnant, and deciding I don't want to have a kid all of a sudden, and then having an abortion.
Where
he's going to set it straight is he's going to say, you know what? Here's the deal: birth control is not, or not.
Abortion is not birth control.
But, you know, if there's a circumstance that is necessary, you know, then I understand and it'll be okay.
Well, apparently you and some of my MAGA callers must be kicking my ass because Gen Xer, thanks for the super chat, has told me to step out of the car because I just got smoked. He's referencing my last caller. And thank you, Roulette Wheel. Thank you for that super chat, Roulette Wheel. Appreciate that, you YouTubers. Thank you. You know, I don't know. The issue is they're talking about going as far as potentially executing women for having an abortion. Now, you're talking about Trump might repeal that. He's not talking about doing any of that. Where are you getting this from?
Well, because I listen to the things between the lines. Nobody's really doing a lot for campaigning. Like I said, June or July is when you're going to hear everything. Right now, Trump's focused on proving that he's innocent, and he's doing a great job with that. He's doing everything that I told you he was.
Whoa! Let me say this. While I do agree with you, at least in court, Trump is winning. I don't think he's doing a great job proving that he's innocent. He's doing a great job delaying these damn cases.
Well, if the judge didn't think he was innocent, he wouldn't delay him. If the judge thought he was guilty, if the prosecutor had enough to make him guilty, there would be no delay.
Here's what I mean when I say a delay. The fact that the Supreme Court is actually entertaining whether a president has immunity, and they deliberately pushed the case out all the way till June. This happened back in March. They gave him 2 or 3 months of a delay to decide whether he has immunity or not. That's helping him out.
Well, it's helping him out greatly, and what they're doing is they're giving the prosecution 2 months to get their shit together, and if they can't, they're going to drop that case come June. Watch.
I don't know. So you do believe all these cases are a witch hunt?
100%. He'd already been guilty of at least one.
I don't know. Here's my take on it. I don't believe he's innocent. I believe that some of these folks sat on their asses because they were afraid to move quickly with a sitting president that they delayed, certainly with Merrick Garland and Jack Smith, they moved at a snail's pace. And by the time they did decide to do something, they're running short on time. I don't believe he's 100% innocent. Do I believe some of this stuff is political? Yeah. But it can be political and valid at the same time.
How are you going to convict somebody of having documents that he was told and had staffers told to drop them off without his knowledge?
You got people in his inner circle there, DJ, that are saying that he was resisting giving the documents back, which is the obstruction of justice charge, where his own attorney testified. She told him, if you keep resisting this, it's a crime, sir. She testified that she told him that.
Well, you know, those documents needed to be copied, so he took this time to get them copied.
Then there's the crime. You took time that the courts were not giving you.
Is it a bigger crime to keep those documents or to hide it from the American people what's really in those documents? Because I have people in that inner circle as well.
I can't answer that question. I will just say it is a crime to obstruct justice. That part is a crime.
Would you call it a crime if he came out and he said, okay, in these documents that I kept, there's the cure for cancer, there's the cure for AIDS, there's documents that show we have aliens walking among us. I'm not saying that's all in there. I'm just saying, how are you going to feel about the man if he saved that so he could set America straight, so that he could take care of the Americans?
I would feel fantastic if that was the case. And let me say this:
Would you still think he was a criminal?
No,
Would you still call him a crook?
Well, yeah, Martin Luther King is a criminal. Martin Luther King went places where he illegally. Rosa Parks is a criminal. It turned out great, but it's still a crime. So I would call him a criminal, but I would say he's a criminal we need.
There we go. So
yeah.
Then I guess I got your vote when it comes November. Finally.
But that has not happened yet. He hasn't told us about it.
What I'm hearing, Tim, is your name Tim or Sean?
Tim.
Because Moo always calls you Sean or some shit like that. Like, he don't even know your name. He keeps calling you a name that's not Tim.
I haven't heard that. He says my dude.
No, so he does say my dude a lot, like way too much. Like, surfer. I like his commentary. He's fun to listen to.
I'm a big Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure fan. I don't mind dude. I used to buy Dell computers. It's a Dell dude. I like dude.
Yeah. I do too.
And in honor of the LGBT community, dude looked like a lady. I don't have a problem with dude.
No.
All right.
I might have but you didn't answer my question, so I do have your vote in November.
What is your name? You said your name's Biden what?
Trump, buddy.
We'll be talking. I gotta go, Julio. Appreciate it.
All right, brother.
All right.
And by the way, that last caller that you did have,
yeah,
that was right before me. That guy who was talking about having an MBA and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Have him up more. That dude's smart.
Anytime he come on, I'll bring him up. You know how we run an uncensored program. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Looking in the comments, though, MAGA is a joke, says Red. Okay. MAGA smarter than Democrats. First watch. MAGA is smarter than Democrats. The whole group is smarter than the other whole group. All right, we'll see what happens in November. You might be smart, but looking on the outside, looking in from the outside. I can't say it right. They killed Martin Luther King just for asking for rights. Will Trump give his life? Well, according to Trump, he will. According to Trump, he does believe in, what does he say? Give me liberty or give me death. Remember, he stated, they're talking about putting me in jail. I believe in the Constitution. Going to jail is a small price to pay. Trump is learning that Mandela, Martin Luther King lingo, even though people believe it is absurd that people are comparing him to Mandela and Martin Luther King, but he is learning the lingo. Now, I will say this, whether or not you think Trump is the next best thing since sliced bread, or you believe he's a complete fraud, regardless of where your mindset is on Trump, I would personally, maybe some of you folks disagree, I invite you to state, but I would personally rather hear Trump quoting the likes of Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela than Adolf Hitler. all of that vermin and poison in the blood. I'd rather hear him talking about he's defending the Constitution and willing to go to jail for it than talking about people poisoning the blood of the country and all that. So take it as you may. Take it as you may. Going back to the box, your modern day prosecutors at federal and state level are examples as to why affirmative action was a shitty idea, says Mr. McKay. Here's the issue. Now, before I go back to the box, and by the way, tap the screen, get my likes on up. We should be around 60,000. Uncensored programming. You know how we run the program. We don't block, ban, or censor. On YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. I think they said the 3 lines at the top of your screen, 3 dots, gives you access to the like button. So I do appreciate you folks that are supporting the program. I wanted to respond to that comment. The affirmative action, stating that affirmative action is the reason you have the shit show for prosecution in this country. You know, he says your modern day prosecutors at the federal and state level are examples as to why affirmative action was a shit show. In other words, if you lower the standards, inclusion wise, to allow, let's say, minorities, blacks, Hispanics, folks who normally would not have gotten that job, to get that job, you're going to get shitty prosecutors in place. It makes sense. However, we have to look at the crop of prosecutors we had before affirmative action became the law, where you could literally kill a minority and not face any prosecution at all. Is our system now worse than that? Because that is what was happening before affirmative action, where you could literally do whatever the hell you wanted to do to African Americans, minorities, and things of that nature, and there might not be any prosecution at all. There was no affirmative action back then. They were literally picking and choosing who they were concerned about, who lives mattered the most. That's what happened before affirmative action. You're telling me affirmative action is worse than that? I don't know. This is where I say it depends on your background. Now, looking in the comments, does it say Birdcage? I can't pronounce the name, but says that's what they want now. In other words, suggesting that they want to roll America back to a time where you didn't have affirmative action and you didn't have protections for minorities. We'll leave it at that. What's wrong with getting a job based strictly on merit, says Mama 84. Well, in modern times, I don't see anything wrong with it. But we know how this country was developed, where you could not obtain the necessary merit because there were so many hurdles in place. Majority of the higher learning institutions would only accept certain people. So when it came to entering law school, getting a law degree, becoming, a prestigious member of these organizations, you couldn't complete the steps to get there. That's where affirmative action came from. You couldn't complete the steps to even get to these places. Or they had to lower the grading requirements because we know the people who are going to meet those requirements need to go to these schools, these institutions, get this level of education that this group of people is not allowed to obtain. So it's pretty obvious if we raise our standards up to this level, only the people who could get a certain type of education is likely to qualify. The system was originally set up that way. Looking in the comments, affirmative action was needed because for a long time, merit did matter if you were a minority, says Rianne. And I will tell you, everything from literally being able to vote. They used to require you take a test to even be able to vote. And of course, the test would ask you questions that are really ridiculous education you wouldn't know the answers to. They used to even ask you questions. So merit used to be a way to exclude people in this country. Merit used to be pretty damn savvy. Going back to the box, though, we'll keep it moving. Appreciate all you folks that are holding on. Miss Mo Better, always a pleasure. Good afternoon, Miss Mo Better. While she's coming up, I believe women could lose their right to vote, says George Michael. I've got guests on the show. One of the friends of the program, Gen X, has come unstated the country would be better off if women did not have the right to vote, and he's MAGA. So there are people who do believe that women having the right to vote is not favorable to this country. Miss Mobetta, you okay with voting? Miss Mobetta, are you there?
Is the sound so funny?
Your signal's bad.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
What happened? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It's terrible. Oh, God. Okay. Yes. Hello, Tim.
Good to have you here. So,
can you hear me? Am I likewise?
Yeah. So Trump is. Does Trump appear to be winning to you?
He might be winning popularity. He because you know the media and all of that stuff. As much as he say they attack him, he loves that stuff. That's what he loves. It doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative attention. As long as they're talking about me, I'm winning. And this is where his MAGA supporters failed at, because they didn't hit the polls like they were doing on Channel 25. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all were paying more attention to the TV and they weren't voting for him. He lost because didn't enough of his people vote for him.
Well, a lot of people believe that he actually won and the election was stolen. What say you?
Well, because that's what he told them to think. He tells them what to think.
He
tells them what to think and they buy into it.
Are you saying that MAGA is sheep unable to think for themselves?
I don't even know if they're good as sheep. They're goats. And not greatest of all time either.
Oh my God.
So, a few of your MAGA callers earlier, they were making excuse after excuse after excuse, even when you were giving them the examples and proof of what was happening. Oh yeah, but this is what he meant. So they're really trying to think for him. They want him to think like them, but he doesn't. Whatever you got going on your head is coming out of your mouth.
So how do you feel? Like, what are you concerned with the most? If Trump is reelected, is there anything you should really be concerned about? Maybe you don't favor his policies. Maybe you lean left and he leans right. But is there really anything really serious to be concerned about if Trump gets reelected?
Well, now it is serious because he has a vengeful nature now. He has so much he want to get back at people at, till he's not even talking about policies. I don't know I've never been to one of his rallies, but from what I see, from what comes out of his mouth, he has a vendetta against people that didn't vote for him or don't agree with things that he says. He's calling the criminals that are locked up from J6, he's calling them hostages. Yeah. Those people are criminal. Those are criminals. They broke the law. So he keeps saying what Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. If these people are criminals, won't they get prosecuted the same way he did? But they're not.
He believes they're not getting prosecuted because Biden has weaponized the government in his favor, and they're just going after Trump.
But Biden wasn't in there when he was in office.
That is true.
Biden wasn't in office then. You had the sole power. But again, he entered into the realm of politics, which is a whole different ball game than being a game show host.
Yeah,
you can, even if you claim to be a businessman. Yeah, you want a businessman, but I also would like somebody who's knowledgeable of their position. Yeah. I'm not going to have a cocktail waitress flying a plane that I'm riding on.
That's a good point. So at the end of the day, though, because with the rolling back of Roe v. Wade, I get a lot of women on the program that support Trump. I mean, it looks like Trump may win the damn election. Even women don't seem to be really at odds with the rolling back of Roe v. Wade. I get a lot of women that lean right. You think the women are going to show up for Trump, show up for Biden at all?
You know who those women are that support Trump? They're women that are beyond childbearing age, or that are under the thumb of their husbands. You rarely hear of any self-respecting woman that is able to still produce children and build a family that's talking about him. If they are out there, I wish they would interview them to see what their point is, but they're not. They don't. Those people are not coming forward because they're not voting for him.
So you're saying that a lot of women that do support Trump, they're under the thumbs of their husband. I need you to elaborate on that a little bit.
Absolutely. It's because what I say goes. I am the breadwinner in this house, so they are probably. Again, this is my opinion. This is my.
You're
opinion.
entitled to that. That's what you're here for. That's what you're here for.
The Handsome Liberal Show. But those are the, you see, they're like older white women that are either perimenopause or are not childbearing age, and they sit home and their husbands go out there and they're pretty much the control of the house. Those are the so-called Christians. So pay attention. Those are the ones who are the so-called Christians that are pro-life or whatever. Let me tell you something. When it comes to pro-life, pro-choice is included into pro-life. You hear me? Yeah. So what they did, they made it separate, which is, it really isn't. If I'm pro-life, that means I still had the choice. So where's the separation?
Well, I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen, if Trump is reelected, this pro-life is going to spread because they've already stated they want to do it federally. So it will go beyond just the states. It will go. I mean, you got Mitch McConnell, you got Lindsey Graham, you got Trump himself saying they could go federal. Mike Pence was in favor of it. There's obviously huge desire on the right to have a federal abortion ban nationwide.
I find it deplorable and disgusting. You're entering into a realm that really has nothing to do with them. Because like I stated before, you're talking about pro-life. You'll have a lot of these babies being born to families that probably can't afford to live a lifestyle that they live, that the lawmakers themselves live, and they're going to be relying on the system. Or, not able, you're going to find abandoned babies, and the orphanages are going to be overrunning, overflowing with children with no families because of pro-life. They're quote unquote pro-life. Wow. So they talk out of both sides of their face, and this is what makes them hard. This is what makes it hard for people to latch on to what they have to say. So, like you were saying, it's not that we're voting for Biden; we're voting against Trump.
Yeah, I do believe that represents, because folks always ask me, do you really believe Trump got, Biden rather? Do you really believe Biden got 80 million votes operating from his basement? And my response is all the time, it's not people voting for Biden; they're voting against Trump. I think that Biden is the beneficiary, and I do believe that there's probably more anti-Trump votes than votes for Biden. I believe more people are voting against Trump than voting for Biden.
You know what sucks about that for Trump is, it's terrible when your opponent is so bad nobody want to vote for him, but you're horrible and they really don't want to vote for you. Yes. So when you got your opponent, they don't even want to really vote for your opponent, but we're going to vote because we don't like your ass.
All right, Miss Mo Better.
Big mouth bigot is what he is.
Well, wait, you think he's a bigot too? What?
Listen, all he cares about is himself, power, and money. And he'll throw his own family members under the bus for that.
Damn. All right. Well said. I appreciate you coming through. Always open to you. Thank you, Miss Mo Better. Appreciate it. All right. All right. Like I said, folks, we go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. So understand, we don't censor. You're going to hear, this is not an echo chamber, folks. I do understand a hell of a lot of my guests enjoy media, enjoy social media pages, cable news networks that speak the same language as they want to talk. If you lean left, you're probably watching MSNBC or a little bit of CNN thrown in. If you lean right, you're probably Fox, OAN, Newsmax, you name it. Not a lot of places will you find devoted MAGA and progressives all in the same damn place having a civilized conversation. So we're a little bit different. I get it. We're a little bit different. But if you don't mind a little bit of civilized dialogue from everyone, you are in the right place. Feel free to tap that screen on TikTok. Give me on up to about 70,000. And certainly on YouTube, if you will, smash that like button. She is very wrong about women voting for Trump. I have had 2 abortions and regretted more than I can tell you. I was pro-life until I found out who the woman was, how started Planned Parenthood. That's Margaret Sanger. and you were pro-choice. I'm assuming you're saying you were pro-choice until you heard about the story of Margaret Sanger. Abortion is abortion. I mean, okay, this person allegedly created Planned Parenthood to restrict births in the Black community, and that changed your whole opinion on abortion. If mistreatment of African Americans changed your opinion on abortion, it should change your opinion on most American institutions. Most of America was founded on mistreatment of minorities and African Americans. It should change your opinion on the national anthem. It should change your opinion on the educational system. It should change your opinion on the NRA. You hear about Margaret Sanger, and it changes your opinion on abortion when all the other damn institutions in this country were founded the same damn way. Even the U.S. military was founded on mistreatment of African Americans. And they gave a bunch of them syphilis deliberately in the U.S. Navy. Okay, all right. Going back to the box. That was interesting. No, that was interesting. It's the opposite now. They are panicking and want more white babies. They fear replacement. Wow. And I've heard about replacement theory. There are people who are concerned with that. In fact, President Trump stated in that Time magazine interview that there is currently an anti-white sentiment in America, that America has become biased against whites, and that will not happen under his watch. He pretty much came out and said it. Half of what other than it won't, I think he said that can't happen or something like that. But the rest of what I just said was an actual quote. He did say there's an anti-white bias in America and it can't happen. I mean, so he is planning on somehow, some way reversing what he believes is an anti-white bias in this country. I don't know what he's going to do to make that happen. I don't know where the blacks, the Hispanics, the LGBT community is receiving preferential treatment over whites, but wherever that is, he plans on overturning it. So it could be an interesting time. It could be an interesting time. Looking in the comments, I don't believe a fucking word that Orange Jesus says Pete 1017. Wow. You getting scared, bro? Says Mr. Ferocity. I'm concerned. I don't find myself fearful of these leaders. More like concerned. Certainly for generations in the future. I'm a 51-year-old man. I'll be 52 this year. Most of this shit is above and beyond me. I'm not going to be drafted or sent off to fight a war and things like that. It could affect my life negatively. Certainly if racism or something becomes a reality or something like that. But more fearful for future generations on what we may have. Now, I'm not saying I buy into every claim about President Trump, but if they are true, it could be hard on future Americans. I think the abortion thing, there's no denying that will make it harder for women. Because it is focusing on sexual responsibility to the extreme. If women are not responsible sexually, in other words, using protection, birth control, you name it, they can literally be killed for it. I mean, there are Republican politicians, the guy out in North Carolina we covered, that says a woman that has an abortion should qualify for the death penalty. I've said it many times, there is nothing good coming down the pipe for women in regards to pro-life legislation. The entire focus is on protecting the unborn, the sanctity of life for the unborn. The entire focus is on that. There is zero concern with the mother. It's about saving that baby in the womb, up to and including potential loss of life for the mother. If we can save that child, save the child at all costs. There is no concern with the mother. Physically, mental health-wise, because having to carry a baby that was forcibly put inside of, can you imagine the mental anguish of that? To tell that mom, I don't give a damn, even if that baby is a product of rape, the baby is not responsible for how it was created. You're going to carry it anyway. That is zero concern for the mental health of the mom carrying the baby. Okay, maybe she's depressed, feeling a rapist baby kicking her stuff. Well, I don't care. We're going to save that baby. There is zero concern for the mom. So I'm just simply saying there's nothing good coming down the pipe for the mom. And then, of course, if she decides she wants to terminate the baby, despite the government's anti-abortion law, now she's going to prison too. So now she's been sexually violated and she may end up in prison. This is reality. It's not making up some shit. It's not talking points. These are actual laws on the books now. There are states where if you are in the exact same scenario I just stated, you can go to prison. It's an actual scenario. So yeah, the women, there is nothing beneficial to women in this at all. It's pro unborn. That's all it is. Looking in the comments, America is very good country, says Florid. All right, fair enough. Looking in the comments, Gen X, America has more of an anti-male masculinity bias. There is some of that. I'm not going to disagree. There is some of that certainly going around. Do laws need to be changed, though? I don't think that there need to be a change of laws. So it will come up. Anyhow, folks, I do thank you for the swan there, Tammy. Thank you for your support. Do appreciate the 60,000 likes. This is an abbreviated live. We're going to be back on at 5, but 1 p.m. Central, 1,300 hours, Monday through Friday. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. See you later. Looking in the comments on YouTube real quick. I don't know what just happened there, but thank you for those super chats there, Gen X. Both parties will treat blacks like crap. Perhaps, I don't know. I am pro-life and I am against abortion, even in rape and incest. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Joseph. That's what I'm talking about. You are concerned with saving the life of that baby. Whatever the mom is going through, she just has to go through it. Maybe she decides to take her own life because of those strict circumstances. Oh, well. Oh, well. What do you think about LGBTQ? I'm an ally. I don't have any right to tell two dudes they can't be with each other. Any right at all. It's not my job to tell you who you can or cannot love. So I would consider myself an ally of the community because I believe in live and let live. That's my answer on that. Women should be able to abort. Men shouldn't pay child support. There is an argument about that. I do support pro-choice. I'm a pro-choice person. I don't believe anybody who doesn't want to have a child should be forced to have it. I don't think it's a good thing for the child at all. I really don't. But that's a whole different debate. We'll finish it up later. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I gotta go.